The bold and the beautiful legend John McCook gets candid about working with powerhouse co-star. Very opinionated, but her opinions matter because she knows what she's talking about, the actor said about Susan Flannery. Key points. John McCook has played Eric on The Bold and the Beautiful since its debut. McCook praised Susan Flannery as a powerhouse and discussed their on-screen dynamic. The actor took the role due to his wife's advice after hesitating to join another soap. The Bold and the Beautiful would not be the same without soap legend John McCook, Eric, who has been part of the show since day one. For decades, his partner in crime on the CBS soap was Susan Flannery, Stephanie. Eric and Stephanie's turbulent story was the backbone of The Bold and the Beautiful for a long time. Clapperboard sign up for Parade's daily newsletter to get the latest pop culture news and celebrity interviews delivered right to your inbox. Clapperboard. In 2012, Flannery opted to retire and leave The Bold and the Beautiful after 25 years. McCook is still going strong on the CBS soap and recently spoke about what it was like to work with the iconic Flannery to bring Stephanie and Eric's drama to life. McCook joined his The Bold and the Beautiful co-star Rebecca Budig, Taylor, and Days of Our Lives star Greg Ricart, Leo, on their soapy podcast. It was there that McCook got real about his former co-star. She is a powerhouse. She's wonderful. Very opinionated, but her opinions matter because she knows what she's talking about, McCook gushed. The actor revealed a little bit about the dynamic he had with Flannery, especially in those scenes where Stephanie and Eric would discuss literally everyone else but themselves. It's a classic soap scene, but not one either McCook or Flannery particularly liked. We'd be sitting with martinis, talking about whether Ridge is going to get laid this weekend. And Susan would say, "Where's the conflict?" And she was right. If we're talking about the Drapes or other characters, it's a feeder scene. It's not about us. And it's boring, he expressed. When that would happen, McCook would invent his own conflict, complete with ridiculous scenarios, and let Flannery in on his plan of action. I'd say, "I'm going to play it like I have to pee really badly." "Okay, there's my conflict," the actor shared. It's been over 13 years since Stephanie died on the show as Flannery retired. In fact, the actress recently made a major change to fit her new lifestyle. Related, is Eric leaving The Bold and the Beautiful? While Flannery was his on-screen partner, McCook's real-life wife, Laurette Spang McCook, was the reason he even agreed to do The Bold and the Beautiful. McCook admitted he was hesitant to do another soap after his year stint on The Young and the Restless as Lance Prentice. However, his wife convinced him that even if the new soap failed, it would still be on for at least 5 years and would be a solid gig for that time. Lucky for soap fans, McCook took his wife's advice and stepped into the role of Eric Forrester. The Bold and the Beautiful airs weekdays on CBS. Next, The Young and the Restless icon sends direct message to critics about the author. For nearly 4 decades, John McCook has stood at the heart of The Bold and the Beautiful as the elegant, ethical, endlessly romantic Eric Forrester, a role that has made him a daytime icon. At 80-plus years young, McCook carries the warm gravitas of an old-school leading man, blended with a twinkle that tells you he's just mischievous enough to keep things interesting. But today, he isn't talking about legacy, awards, or the longevity of a career that once seemed impossible for a young actor plucked from musical theater. Today, he's talking about chemistry, the kind Hollywood can't manufacture, predict, or explain. The kind that happens when one performer meets another who elevates every scene, every line, and every moment. He's talking about a powerhouse. And he's smiling. You know it the moment you read with them. I've worked with extraordinary actors, McCook begins, leaning back as if mentally going through a catalog of co-stars past and present. But every once in a while, you meet someone who walks onto the set and, boom, the air changes. The energy shifts. It's like a tuning fork that resets the pitch of the whole room. He laughs, almost embarrassed by his own poetic description. I'm serious. You feel it. Your job gets easier, but also harder, because you better bring your A game. He's talking about his fictional counterpart and longtime on-screen match, a co-star who arrived with both fire and finesse, someone who could hold her own opposite one of daytime TV's most seasoned performers, someone McCook calls, without hesitation, a powerhouse. Though he doesn't name her yet, anyone who has followed the soap knows exactly who he means. The kind of actress who can deliver a monologue like a blade wrapped in silk. The kind whose presence can turn a simple living room exchange into a moment fans clip and replay across social media with breathless commentary. McCook leans forward, elbows on his knees. "You know it the moment you read with them," he says. "It's like the scene wakes up." The shared pulse of a scene. When asked what it's like to act opposite someone with that kind of force, McCook doesn't choose the easy answer. He doesn't speak about technique or blocking or dialogue memorization. Instead, he speaks about listening. "The magic isn't in saying your lines," he says. "It's in responding. The powerhouse co-star gives you something to respond to, they throw sparks at you. And when you trust each other, those sparks catch fire." He explains that great scene partners don't simply hit their marks, they tune into each other like musicians sharing a stage. "When she picks up the pace, I pick up the pace," he says. "If she slows down, lowers her voice, narrows her eyes, well, now I have to figure out what Eric does with that. Because she just changed the entire temperature of the room." Sometimes their rhythm feels like ballroom dancing. Sometimes it's more like fencing. But it's always alive, he says. That's the point. Off camera, the real power behind the powerhouse. McCook admits that the reason the on-screen chemistry works so well is because the off-screen rapport is just as strong. There's a mutual respect, he says plainly. And that matters more than people realize. He describes his co-star as fiercely prepared, deeply thoughtful, and unexpectedly funny. "She'll do this thing," he says, where right before a dramatic scene, one of those heartbreakers, she'll crack a joke so dry and perfect you can practically hear the crew trying not to laugh. And then she'll walk in front of the camera and break your heart in 20 seconds. It's wild. He also praises her work ethic. "People think soaps are easy," he continues. "They're not. You get one take, maybe two. You shoot dozens of pages a day. And you have to stay emotionally sharp. She does it with this sort of electric focus. It's impressive. But the thing he admires most? She cares," McCook says. "She cares about the story, the fans, the writing, the integrity of the character. That's what makes her a powerhouse. Skill is one thing. Heart is another." The day a scene became unscripted magic. There's a particular memory that makes him grin. A moment on set that, to him, sums up the entire dynamic between him and his co-star.